Let's talk politics now. And the opposition National Democratic Congress is calling on the Inspector General of Police, Dr. Akakpo Dampare, to effect an immediate arrest of the Minister of Agriculture, Brian Achampong, over some comments the NDC says threatens Ghana's peace and democracy. Mr. Achampong was heard during an address to party followers, vowing that his party would not allow the NDC to come back into power. Reacting to the statement, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustapha Gbande, said the IGP had to invite the minister over for questioning.
What we are looking forward is to see an awakened institution of the police. You will recall recently how they arrested our youth organizer in Swami, only because he made 10% of some of these remarks. The man who spoke to you is a minister of state. And if the IGP does nothing about it, we will take actions. And our actions will not be worse. We will carry out his threats and demonstrate to him that in this country, much as we love ourselves, we should not pride ourselves causing violence. And that if it is violence, Brian Achampong comes nowhere close to the NDC. Our tolerance, our patience, our resolve is because we have sensible leaders. We have leaders who love Ghana. We have leaders who want to see this country live peacefully, not because we are scared.
Well, Mr. Gbande also said that the NDC would resist any attempts at intimidation by the MPP going into election 2024.
Officials of government have started doing is just an indication of failure. And they have realized that the only alternative to stay on to power is to breed violence as they have done in the past. But I can assure them that we live in a country that has been very peaceful, a country where there are many people who have lived to see this country develop to this extent. We will not allow hooligans to take the country to hostage. And let not anyone underestimate the power of civil reaction. To the extent that if only, if Ghanaians vote for the NDC and we have evidence that we have won an election, we can assure them that they will leave. They will leave power and Ghana will live on.
Let's turn our gaze to the environment now. And President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has called on the chiefs and the people of Kwewu in the eastern region to help protect the environment against all forms of pollution. The president said the country's forests and water bodies had to be guarded in a way that would prevent them from becoming a source of disease outbreaks for host communities. Commending the founder of the Abetifi Stone Age Cave, Mr. Ben Addo, for converting an entire refuge site into an eco-park to promote tourism, President Akufo-Addo said the economic impact of tourism couldn't be overemphasized. He thus urged all to ensure optimal protection of Ghana's environment.
We're met here today to celebrate the vision of one person who has transformed the hitherto refuse dump into a heritage site. It has been 9 years in the making, and I congratulate Mr. Ben Addo for the brilliance of this initiative. I'm sure that in trying to execute this project, he faced a lot of challenges which would have forced him to give up. His not giving up is the reason why we're here today. The realization of this project teaches us two essential things. Firstly, the challenge of protecting our environment, our forests and water bodies. If this site was still a refuse dump, there would probably be issues of disease outbreak which would have affected the community. It is for this reason that I appeal to the NANUM and all Ghanaians to help protect the environment, including helping deal with issues of illegal dumping of refuge. Secondly, the need for us to support ecotourism. The economic impact of tourism cannot be overlooked or ignored. Over the years, some of our sister African countries like Kenya, Gambia, and South Africa have been able to leverage ecotourism to create employment and generate significant revenue for their respective countries. Stone Age Park, a place whose history dates back to some 12,500 years ago, when duly supported, will attract tourists and history lovers into the country. For this reason, I would appeal to everyone, especially all the people of Kwo, to take this project as theirs. Do not see it to be a project for one person, but as a project for every one of us. And I want to assure the founder, the government for its part, and myself personally will make the necessary contribution to make this project a reality.
Let's talk health now. And the United Nations Population Fund has collaborated with the Bono East Regional Health Directorate to upgrade an abundant facility to serve as a central medical store for the region. The structure, according to the Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Fred Adumaku-Boateng, would go a long way to help improve access to healthcare, as well as the region's viability in terms of healthcare delivery. There's more in the following report put together by Anas Sabit.
Health service delivery in the Bono East region at the district and facility levels has been greatly affected by the persistently poor availability of essential medicines and medical supplies. Since its creation nearly 4 years ago, the Regional Health Directorate continuously relies on the Bono Regional Medical Store for its supplies, a situation that has generally affected healthcare delivery, particularly in the eastern part of the region. Today, through the support of the United Nations Population Fund, the region is witnessing the handing over of an upgraded warehouse to serve as a regional medical store as part of interventions aimed at institutionalizing best warehouse practices in the newly created region. Regional Director of Health Services Dr. Fred Adumaku-Boateng says the refurbished structure would go a long way in helping the region's viability in terms of healthcare delivery.
If you look at Bono East, we ourselves over here, we have some places that we call Far East. So you can see that in terms of access, getting logistics, commodities for the population of Bono East was a challenge. And that was the very reason why Bono East was carved out from the Bono. And the idea is that you get a viable regional health directorate. And when we say a viable regional health directorate, it means one, the substances, the materials, commodities and medicines that you need to make sure that people have the quality of care that they deserve, they have it. So if you don't have it, then it means that you are not viable region. No matter what you say, you need a functional regional medical stores to be operating. Because when you go to any facility, if you don't have equipment, if you don't have medicines, if you don't have anything to diagnose the people and manage, then obviously it means that you are not viable. So you can see the significance of what we are doing here. We can say that in our journey to becoming viable, today marks actually the birthday of Bono East Regional Health Directorate.
Country Director at the United Nations Population Fund, who are key partners to the event, Dr. Wilfred Ochan, emphasized that the move forms part of UNFPA's quest to help improve access to healthcare.
Chair, please permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to mention that Bono East region is one of UNFPA implementing regions. It means we partner with them and we provide both technical and some financial support to implement some key health programs. Through this engagement, UNFPA has been supporting the Health Directorate and other agencies to improve healthcare delivery through capacity building, in aim to strengthen reproductive healthcare delivery in general. It is my greatest hope, Honorable Minister, and Dr. Awoje, that the institutionalized warehouse, a major investment, will live up to its expectation of providing the congenial storage and distribution of essential medical supplies that is compliant with and meet the highest prescribed safety, efficiency, and customer satisfaction standards.
On his part, Director General of the Ghana Health Services, Dr. Patrick Kumar-Boaji, commended the UNFPA and other partners for the support provided and asked that there is the need for the Directorate to institute mechanisms that will promote accountability and the efficient use of the facility.
Ladies and gentlemen, I must say that RMS on its own is not an end, as depicted in the drama. Others must be there. So we encourage the new region to put in place systems that will promote efficient use of the new facility, that will ensure accountability, that will ensure payment for the commodities that are to be procured, and that will lead to sustainability and also growth of the center.
Also present at the ceremony are other key partners in the health sector, including the United States Agency for International Development, who supported the facility with some computers to facilitate the region's quest to achieving universal health coverage. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Kintampo.
Let's focus on Easter now, and the climax of the redemption story for Christians is the resurrection and ascension of Jesus Christ. The proof of that is an empty grave, which emboldens them in their faith in Him. To date, in modern-day Israel, the Garden Tomb attracts hundreds, if not thousands, of pilgrims to attest to the age-old biblical resurrection story. As Christians marked Easter, Joy News' Emefa Atiamwa Eli got the rare privilege of entering the over 2,000-year-old tomb in Jerusalem. And here's her experience.
The Garden Tomb, as is referred to in modern-day Jerusalem, perhaps is the most famous and thrilling landmark for pilgrims visiting Israel. A breathtaking feature grasping the attention of tourists as soon as one enters is the serene atmosphere and the freshness of the green garden. Tourists are sure to be lost in the warm, natural scenery and be less bothered about how managers diligently ensure the garden is well kept. The well-mapped out walkways, the sitting areas, and designated huts or spaces for pilgrims' fellowship are just breathtaking. A Garden Tomb manager, Andrew Haynes, shares some historical facts about the tomb.
So how do we know there was a garden here 2,000 years ago? That's a very important question. And the answer is because of this. This is a wine press that is 2,000 years old. You put all the grapes in and you jump up and down on them to get the juice out. But it tells us that there was a vineyard right here. Someone was growing grapes and making wine. So yes, there was a garden here at the time of Jesus. And at the edge of the garden, a rich man's tomb, a burial place cut out of solid rock.
Well, staying on Christ's resurrection, as many Christians committed yesterday to reflecting on the ultimate sacrifice made by Jesus Christ on the cross of Calvary, the Archbishop of the Perez Chapel International, Archbishop Charles Ajinasari, said believers had to reciprocate the love of Christ by promoting the gospel as their form of sacrifice to building God's kingdom.
So this month, let it be a month of sacrifice for you. The early church sacrificed. Look, it wasn't pleasant to be a believer after Jesus died and resurrected, because they arrested him, they killed him, and when he rose, they even said you should shut up. His body was stolen. So it was, you were not allowed to talk about him. Peter, in Acts chapter 3, he said, you people killed him. God raised him. They arrested him. In our days, nobody is arresting us for preaching. Yet when was the last time you told somebody about Jesus? Nobody's arresting you. So in those days, if you said you were a believer, they arrested you. Yet these people will not shut up. They went from house to house and they went publicly into the temple. You are here. Nobody's arresting you. Nobody's fighting you. Nobody's criticizing you. Yet there is nobody, even your relatives, you are feeling shy to tell them about Jesus. You are not sacrificing your pride. Tell them about Jesus. Since you got saved, what have you sacrificed for the Lord? Ask the person sitting by you, what have you sacrificed for the Lord? Amen. Some of them sold their lands. Some of them sold houses. Some of them gave beyond their means. Sacrifice. This month, may it be your month of sacrifice. And not only may it be a month of sacrifice, may it be a month of the release of the power of God on your sacrifice. May God surprise you.
Well, also tied to the season, the General Overseer of the International Central Gospel Church, Pastor Mensa Otabil, has urged Christians to seek Christ from a right place in order to have a healthy and lasting relationship with Him. In his Resurrection Sunday message to his Facebook followers on Where to Go, Dr. Otabil said, if Christians looked for Jesus Christ from the wrong places, they risked missing Him and they might not have that full appreciation of who He was to them. His exaltation comes on a day Christians all over the world are remembering the resurrection of Christ 3 days after His crucifixion and burial over 2,000 years ago in Israel.
Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Indeed and truly, the Son of God is risen from the dead, no more to die, but to return as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. For the disciples of Jesus Christ, the resurrection was a promise, a prophecy, but it was difficult to believe because it had never happened. They had seen Jesus die, or they had heard of it. They had seen all the signs of death. Buried. As far as they could tell, this is the end of the story. And the question is, they were looking for Jesus Christ in the wrong place. He is not here. And that's a very important question for us to consider. You know, most people acknowledge Jesus Christ to be something. Some think He's a good teacher, a good philosopher, a good man, a good philanthropist, positive things about Him. But what kind of Jesus are you seeking for? Because if you're looking for Him in the wrong place, you'll not find Him. If you're looking for the wrong Jesus, you never find Him. And that's what they were doing. They were looking for Jesus in the wrong place. In the tomb, He says, He's not here. If you're looking for Him in philosophy, He's not here. If you're looking for Him just with science, He's not here. There is a place to find Him. And that is to find Him in the words He spoke, as He has said. Today, as we contemplate the resurrection, it's also a moment for us to consider what we are looking for in Jesus Christ and where we are looking for Him from. And if we are looking for Him and we want to find Him, then His words must become the basis of our discovery.
Well, even as we contemplate for our final story, Easter, we also take a look at Ramadan, which still is with us. Now, did you know that a person who intends to donate blood is expected to have a healthy meal before that donation? Have you also asked yourself what is expected of a Muslim donor who volunteers to donate blood during the fasting hours within the holy month of Ramadan? Well, in the following report, my colleague Anas Sabit, as part of our Ramadan series, is engaging some health experts and an Islamic scholar to give answers to the above questions.
Donating blood is considered a life-saving exercise, a good deed that is highly recommended for all Muslims around the world. Well, whilst this exercise is highly recommended for Muslims around the world, there are certain key steps that needs to be adhered to before one donates. And to the fasting person, What should one do if he or she wants to donate blood? This morning we paid a visit to the blood bank of the Teachman Holy Family Hospital to throw more light on this in order to answer this question whether it is advisable for a fasting person to donate blood during the fasting periods. Garba Marwan Abdurraouf is in charge of the blood bank of the Holy Family Hospital.
Here, before you can donate blood, we have a clinical records for you, a questionnaire. After going through the screening process, we will ask you to go and eat before you come and donate. You need energy in order to donate blood. And those, we are in the month of Ramadan. If you are fasting, you don't need to donate blood because you don't have enough energy to donate blood. So if you are fasting, medically, you are not supposed to donate blood.
The immediate impact on the body as a result of donating a pint of blood is a loss of red blood cells. And in the short term, a minority of donors may experience light headaches, fatigue, or nausea due to the iron or water loss. And in the case of a fasting person, he or she may lose consciousness soon after the exercise.
You see, the process of donating blood is like you are losing something. At least you are donating 450 ml of blood. You understand? You are losing something. So you need to eat well before you can donate. If not, after donating that blood, you feel dizzy. Even some will even collapse after donating the blood. There are instances whereby people will come. Have you eaten? They say, yes, I've eaten. Meanwhile, the person has not eaten. Then because he wants to beat our time, he wants to beat the time, he wants to do it quick and go, the person will finish donating and the person will collapse.
Garba Marwan noted that the facility has an arranged work schedule that permits Muslims to donate blood after breaking the fast.
We have time. We have arranged with our staff. Here it's 24/7. We have morning shift. After morning, afternoon will come and night duty. So what we normally do is, this period we have organized ourselves very well. When it's 7 o'clock, our Muslim brothers who are coming in for to donate blood, we are ready for them. After they are breaking their fast, they will come and they donate the blood to their clients.
Even though there's been a series of educative sessions over the years to get Muslim donors accept the fact that one cannot donate blood on empty stomach, there still exist some defiant ones who will oppose to this basic requirement. Gerber is appealing to people who are donating to friends and family to possibly break their fast during extreme situations to save lives and pay later after the month.
We are educating our youth. They should know the importance of fasting and donating blood. You understand? Ramadan, let me say, fasting is something very important to we the Muslims. It's the same thing to us. When you are donating your blood to save somebody's life, it's equally important. And I think when you break the fast day and help that person, I think after the Ramadan you can still replace the fasting. But if the person, within some few minutes, if blood is not served, the person will lose his life. How will you get the person back?
From the blood bank of the Teachman Holy Family Hospital, we tried seeking for the religious perspective on this development. Malam Mansour Anas is an Islamic scholar here at the Teachman Al-Sunnah Central Mosque.
When it comes to blood donation regarding a person who is fasting, the ruling on it is not permissible because upon donating blood, it reduces the strength of a person to fast for about 13 or 14 hours. So it's not permissible for you to donate blood as you are in a state of fasting.
At this minute, we know a fasting person is not permitted to donate blood during the fasting hours. But what does one do when he or she has to donate in order to save a life?
When it becomes necessary to save a life, what ulama, the scholars, said is, this is that you have to break the fast and then donate the blood so that you can save a life. So later, after the month of Ramadan, you pay back that day. This is the ruling.
But is there a Quranic verse to back this claim?
Allah, the Almighty, said in the Quran that وَمَنْ أَحْيَاهَا فَكَأَنَّمَا أَحْيَا النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا, that if you help to sustain a life. It's like you are helping the entire mankind to live. So there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, at this juncture, you should know that it is highly not advisable for a fasting person to donate blood during the fasting hours. This is because the person may lose consciousness and in a worst-case scenario, lose his or her life if the person fails to adhere strictly to the instruction that one need not to donate blood on empty stomach. From the Black Bank of the Teachman Holy Family Hospital, and for joining us, my name is Anna Savit, reporting.
Well, that's the note on which we cap off the news. But up next, the news review, we're joined by the Executive Director, Media Foundation for West Africa, Suleiman Abrahima. That's coming up next.